Tyler, for you, what's the difference in the way you're able to go about business here at camp with it not being a competition and fighting to win the job?
I think it's good because we, with our new addition of Matt, Matt and I are able just to get work without getting disrupted or any interruption. So we're able to maximize all the time we have together, which I think is a good thing. And it just takes a distraction away from it. So we're just focusing on bettering ourselves, and that's what I think.
Tyler, what did you take from last year and carry into the offseason that you wanted to improve upon?
I would say I want to improve on just being smooth on my field goals, being more consistent, not trying to always hit the big ball, just kind of being more of a vet and just being controlled and disciplined and focusing on your steps. And that's what I would say.
And that's a change in your conditioning after a year in an NFL program? Like you needed to get more leg strength?
No, I would just improve my overall just strength-wise, my health. Just make sure I'm available throughout the whole season. Make sure I have the endurance to go the whole season, and yeah.
Matt, it's our first chance to talk to you, I think. I don't think we did any Zooms when you signed. Can you tell us about why you chose Buffalo and, just kind of describe what kind of a punter you are?
I think ultimately the decision just came down to Buffalo wanted me, and I wanted to be somewhere where they wanted me. After talking with Heath and Smiley and Coach McDermott, I love what they preach here, family, trust, all that kind of stuff, and that resonates with me. I'm a big family guy. My family's all close back home and all that stuff, and meeting these guys, it's been great. Honestly, it hasn't even felt like a transition to me. They welcomed me right away, which made it easier on me coming up here. And for me as a punter, man, I'm just trying to get better every day, improving on all the little things, adjusting to little scheme differences here. But for me, it's all about coming out and getting better every day and hitting consistent balls, having the guys around me trust me trusting them that they're going to make plays, and kind of feeding off each other.
You punted in this stadium. You know the challenges. Kind of how do you navigate through that and make sure that you know exactly how this wind works and everything?
It's a huge advantage just obviously being here and having this be our home field. And Heath and Smiley do a great job every week with weather reports and stuff like that. And being able to practice in it is a huge advantage. Rather than being surprised when you get here, you expect it, you know what's coming. So just working through it every day and finding little tips and tricks to help with maybe the drop or direction and kind of little things like that go a long way.
Matt, to kind of build on the question that John asked Tyler earlier, you come to a new place, and just like Tyler, there really isn't competition, right? What's that like for you to come to a new place and just be able to really dial in on getting chemistry with Reid and with Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, ever since I got into the league, I had competition my first year, I had competition my third year. But for me, I treat it like there's competition every day. I mean, I may be the only punter here, but there's 32 other punters on the other teams and however many punters they brought into camp. So, I mean, in Miami, there were situations where the kicker had made the team, but they ended up bringing somebody else in that was on another team in a competition. So in my eyes, I'm competing every day, whether it's against myself or because I know there's a million other guys out there that want to be in the position I'm in right now, so you can't take any day for granted.
A couple of years ago, you had 87 punts. Bill's punted 41 times last year. What do you think about that prospect of staying fresh?
It's exciting, but I'm going to go out there when my number's called and do what I can to help this team win. Any situation I'm called out there to be in, but I think that's just a credit to this team, the offense, defense, special teams working together and winning ball games ultimately.
What has Gwen allowed you to be so good at putting punts inside the 20 without kicking the touchdown?
A lot of practice. It's actually something I kind of learned on my own in college and then got tips and tricks from my kicking coach, Jamie Cole, as I grew up and being around other guys in college and in the NFL, learning from coordinators and stuff like that, just different philosophies. But I think a lot of it, again, comes down to trust in the gunners that they're going to be down there making a play, trust in the cover guys, trust in the protection. It's just being able to be out there and swing freely and place it where I want, it's huge.
So did you perfect the Aussie kick in college then? And would you say most of those are Aussie kicks?
Yeah, anything plus 50 is an Aussie kick. I think you could always get better at it. You see guys now like Johnny Hecker last year. He, instead of hitting the Aussie, he hit the banana punt, which in my eyes, if you're not comfortable with it, there's more risk than reward. But if you're good at it, it's deadly. So I think there's always something you can get better at. There's always stuff you can add, and I think that's with punting as a whole.
So will you throw that in there then once in a while?
I've messed around with it, but not comfortable really enough right now to throw it out in a game. But something like in the off season, if I want to work on a day of complete, like, I don't know, just not normal punts, maybe one-step punts backed up, or just trying new things, because like I said, there's a million other guys out there that some of them probably can do that, and the more you can do, the better.
So what you're saying is you got good at the Aussie kick in college?
Yeah.
Reid, you've been around here for a while now. Just from your perspective, how is, I guess, going into this season, the expectations and maybe like the mentality of this team, how is it maybe different or similar from years past, just from your perspective of being around here for so long?
Yeah, I think going into this year, I think, there's a big chunk of guys that have been here since McDermott and Bean and that whole crew got here from 17. And then over we had a big roster flip through 17, 18, 19 kind of. And then the past 2 years, we've kind of had a core group of guys that have been here and have kind of seen where we were and where we are now. And we know where we got to last year. We know we got that chip on our shoulder. We know what we have to do to take that next step. That's kind of all we're looking at, during training camp. What can we get better at today that gets us one step closer to getting past the game we got to last year, right? So,
A lot of trash talk with your brother in this offseason?
not too much, because I had to get some insider info on Matt here, but there's always trash talk going on. Yeah.
Did you train with your brother all on when you weren't here?
No, I stayed here in Buffalo because we had our first baby. So we stayed here this is our first time staying in Buffalo for the off season. But I saw him over the summer. We got to train together in Atlanta for a little bit.
So Matt, how much better is Reid than Blake?
Honestly, they're pretty similar, but I mean, I'm a Buffalo Bill. I'm taking Reid all day.
We talked to Heath earlier today, and I'm interested in, as a team leader, captain, he came in as a really raw coach, really new, kind of was a player a couple years ago. How have you seen him develop and grow into a guy that seemed to command a lot of respect in all of it?
Yeah, I think he is probably what guys would consider a player coach. No pun intended, because he did play. But I think he has been, since he got here, he has been 100% relatable to the guys on the field, on the field, off the field, coaching on the field, coaching in the classroom. So I think that makes a big difference to guys when he can make on-the-field adjustments, or in-game adjustments for saying on a kickoff return, hey, this guy's reading you going out, try to set up 5 yards deeper and flip your hips, or whatever it is. I think that is what has made him take that next step as a coach. Just being comfortable running the meetings and being comfortable in his ability to confidently give guys instruction, I think is what's kind of, made him take off as a coach. It's been great to see.
Did you three get together at all during the off season to work out?
Up here we did. Yeah. Yep.
And how do you feel, in terms of, I know that holder, kicker, snapper relationship can be pretty important, especially in games. If it doesn't go well, everybody notices it. What are some of the things that help you guys get off to a good start in that way?
I think for me, just for my cog in the system, I think it's giving Matt the same ball every time. Because if I'm lining up with, I try to put the nose on the ball. When it's in my hands, I try to put on the same line on the hash every time. If Matt's catching it in the same spot every time, we know that 99% of the time it's going to end up with laces forward, right? So if I'm giving him the same ball, and he's catching in the same spot, we're going to have a good result most of the time. But it's just being as consistent as possible, doing our 1/3 of the operation, I think, is what's important.
Coach Farwell mentioned, and I'm sorry, do you want to comment on that
No, you're
before?
Yeah, if you want me to. I think for me, coming in, obviously as a new addition, it's getting reps, being smooth with the ball, having them be confident in what I'm doing back there so that they feel that they can just go out and do their thing, getting the ball down quick for Tyler so we can see it longer, having him trust me if the snap is a little off that I'm going to get it down and around so that he can just say no matter what I'm making this field goal type of thing. So for me it's just building that trust and confidence.
Coach Farwell mentioned specifically about your holding abilities and how you're such a really good holder. Do you think that is it's kind of like Reid's job, I guess, where, unless you hear about the guy, he must be doing his job, right? Do you think that kind of goes unnoticed where you have to be really buttoned up there?
I mean, you're as a holder, like in our position, that you're expected to be great, right? What you're doing. So I think it's one of those things that doesn't need to be said or doesn't need to be acknowledged. If you're doing your job well, then we're out there scoring points, and that's what matters.